Yep, that's it. So we overall should expect a very close matchup out there. Now you get to take a look at the Overwatch draft, which is quite nice for me. It will definitely give me a little bit of info on what this match might look like. As far as I remember, Vivis Adventure were completely surprisingly strong on Hollywood.
Yeah.
They were able, with their aggression, to just take down the enemies completely in a blink of an eye. While for Singularity, as you said, Daddy might be testing a little bit of a Doomfist, and once again, Vivi's Adventure is another team that comes in from Group B that didn't have access to the Doomfist when they played, so they might not have had a good chance ready to test him out there, while Singularity got a good taste of how an amazing Doomfist can change the game completely. Even though they were able to counter it, maybe they got the ideas themselves. Hey, if you fix this and that, then you would be able to beat us, even though we are the 6th team in Europe, so we're going to try to adapt it for ourselves.
Yeah, no, well, it'd definitely be interesting to see what they end up doing, because they have the more traditional comp down pat. So, like I said, I expect them to incorporate it, and it'll be exciting to see them do that. But for now, here we have one of the final bands coming in that will tell us what 3 maps will be coming up. So we have Volskaya Industries, Watchpoint Gibraltar, Nepal, and I wonder, it's now on Team Singularity to ban, and I wonder what they will end up. Will we get Dorado?
Yeah, of course.
So there we go. Yep, Volskaya Industries has been removed. Now, you are a big fan of Dorado, I know.
And I'm a big fan of not having Volskaya Industries in the pool. And yeah, that's what I always mention in the groups, that I was once surprised completely that a team did not ban Volskaya.
Yes.
They banned Dorado over Volskaya back there. So I was completely surprised. I was caught off guard. And I wasn't willing to say that Volskaya is for sure going to be banned, because maybe once again someone's going to go wild and ban Dorado or Gibraltar, because why not? It's not a bad ban, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But we're starting off with Nepal, so that will be really interesting to see. So something I haven't touched on, but I did in the group stages, was that in the finals of Apex, we saw some interesting Reaper play come out. That was really key to opening up the maps at certain points and breaking the dive comp slightly of the other teams. So we did see a little bit of that, especially on Route 66, to secure that first checkpoint. So it'll be interesting to see if it's brought out now in Nepal and what ends up being done. I also remember, actually, at one point, a Bastion was brought out on Nepal, and that was super exciting and extremely dominant. So we'll have to wait and see. But we're about to load in, and what do you think? 2-1 to Singularity?
Not sure, really. I don't really know where to put it. Yeah. I feel like I prefer Vivi's Adventure a little bit more because of how colorful and how fun of a team they are. Basically, the idea for the team itself, really. And I always mention the group stages how important it is for Mumbati on his tracer to get the entry picks, and once again I'll be looking forward to that. But then I feel like Singularity should have a better chance, actually. So it's a question of going up of my mind versus my heart. And in the chat, I use my betties to go for Singularity, but I'm going to say that I think that Vivis Adventure are going to win.
I am going to throw some betties at, I think, Vivis Adventure, because like you, I'm a big fan of their playstyle. And it looks like a lot of people are betting on Singularity, so we'll just have to, and it's fun to go up against you. So yeah, let's see what ends up happening.
Okay, the players asked for a little bit of a pause because Henzu went out of the game, but since he's already back, everything's fine, and we're kicking off Nepal, and it's actually gonna be a Sanctum right here. Yeah, on pause instantly after a little bit of a late reaction out here, but it's fine. Sanctum going in. It's been a very specific kind of map usually right here on Nepal. Some players even decided to pick a Reaper once in Group D, if I'm not mistaken, but I very much like a Reaper on this map. Unfortunately, we don't get to see that. Also, no Doomfist, so Danny's not going to go for it just yet. He's sitting on the D.Va, and we've been mentioning on Nepal once already last week how D.Va is completely important, and you cannot go on this map without her, and one team actually was able to just find it out the hard way, so that I think it's a good idea by Danny not to experiment too much.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, Diva is such a crucial hero, and she's so versatile, able to put out so much DPS whilst also soaking up a lot of damage. But look at this. So straight away, Vivi's Adventure managed to get a bit of an advantage, and we can see a number of their heroes are just standing in the central area, like the entry hall of Team Singularity's, to make sure that they're not able to push up too much and not giving them that room to breathe. Mumbati is on his Tracer, looking for the right opportunity to dart in and doing some good damage, but we have a push in from Team Singularity on the right hand side, forcing them back. Mande pops his tactical visor but ends up being killed and doesn't seem to do much.
Yeah, and this is surprising to me because as you saw, the highlights from their group was all about Mande, really. It was him doing everything on his team, and he's an extremely proficient soldier, really. So I expected him to do so much more since he launched off his tactical visor. And also, Mumbati just wasted a pulse bomb right there. He stuck it on towards the Diva that survived. It didn't even break down the mecha. Then got healed up completely before they started the team fight. So they really had an advantage in the ultimates, but they weren't able to use it the right way.
Yeah, that's quite surprising actually by the reactions there, but really Vivi's Adventure stepping out to quite a dominating start, already at 75%, but Craigie is on the capture point battling it out with Mbati whilst the teams are fighting on the left there. Henzu's trying to get a couple of kills. He manages to secure 2. He's looking for his 3rd one while his ultimate is activated and chases off Diva. Mumbati's still on the point, and Craigie wasn't able to capture it, and they're already at 90%, and Singularity are at the just coming out of their spawn, so they've really got to get to the point right now to be able to take it into overtime.
Alrighty, now the mecha gets broken down, but there's a self-destruct. It's going to be an important one, and actually takes down Henzu, a very good target out there too. He's the highlight player, I would say, on the blue team right now. A lot of people love him. He's very successful DPS too overall, but the first points over to Vivi's Adventure, and they kick it up very well. But Sanctum, as I said, it's pretty much the most specific point that you can get on the PAL, so there's a big possibility for the both remaining ones for Singularity to perform a little bit better, and maybe also a chance for Vivi's Adventure if they free up some pressure out there, if they get 2-0 to experiment a tiny bit with the heroes. I don't know, would love to see that though.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, both matches have started with 100 to 0 on the first point, but as we saw, you know, it can definitely go to much further, so it's not necessarily an indication. Singularity could just be warming up. Nothing too revolutionary on the two team comps at the moment. The teams are just about to push into the points. And yeah, but just good, very solid performance coming out of Vivi's Adventure, just showing that, you know, they are able to challenge Team Singularity and that it won't be as easy as maybe some people thought it would be. But Craigie making a nice little flank there, doing a little bit of poking, and both teams are just trying to build up their ultimates.
Nerf getting a kill on Lulsish though, and this time the teamfight opens up in the favor of Singularity. They also break down the mecha, so there's nothing to really tank up the damage, nothing to soak it up. And Henzu still trying to get some replies going, but he's being chased down by a Winston, and so when a Winston goes up against Genji, it usually ends the very same way. And Elebo's still charging up. He wasn't killed even after he lost his mecha, although he's still eliminated off the fight, so it doesn't really make a difference that he's staying up there. 37 on the self-destruct, so he's pretty far away from that ultimate of his. Mumbati's really close to having a pulse bomb. There's a Transcendence coming up from FCZ. Calyx though on the other side of Sound Barrier. That's a major ultimate though, and it gets launched instantly as the enemy team tries to take the point back, but they're going down like flies. And this time even Hellevold commits suicide himself as he realizes that it's just not good to survive, really. Has to be grouped up with the team, cannot delay them any further. And Danny, he's so much closer to having that self-destruct on his side. Basically, overall right now, Singularity is doing so much better with the ults.
Yeah, absolutely. They have, you know, 4 at the moment, or sorry, 3 at the moment, about to get 5 with Danny and Lind at the moment. So it's over 50%. Vivi's Adventure moving around the side, as we can see, but Craigie is looking to get that flank, and he's able to target the supports in the back. He throws down a pulse bomb, but I don't think he's going to get anything. But here we have Mande actually popping up the tactical visor, trying to do some damage. He isn't able to kill anyone either. So far it's just 1 kill on either side. Henzu goes down, so does Lin, but they're still battling over the point, contesting it neither team is really getting an advantage at the moment, and Mbati's forced to kind of pull back a bit. But this is incredible. Both teams are doing so much DPS to each other, but no one is able to kill each other. And Henzu, who died, was able to respawn and get back to the point to take out Craigie.
Oh,
He's now going a bit huge, gets 2 kills. Mbati gets a 3rd. And it looks like Vivis Adventure are opening up the point and able to capture it. So it's giving us a bit more of a game. But 96% on Team Singularity.
Yeah, it does look scary indeed, although not unwinnable for Vivis Adventure still. Now, they are the ones who have maybe a little bit of an advantage, although let's take a look. There's a tactical visor and a sound barrier on the other side of the sound barrier, and a pulse bomb. So it looks real similar, but it's much easier for Mbati to have a failed ultimate than for Mandy, who kicks off that tactical visor, instantly put the pulse bomb into 2 people, and instantly proves me wrong. It shuts down both the visor and Calyx also with the sound barrier out there too. So this is a very bad situation for Singularity all of a sudden, although they're getting back into this fight.
Yeah, I mean, Mbati coming up huge, getting 3 kills there, nearly getting the 4th before being killed. But as we see, Henzu is trying to hold the point, but they have, 3 or 4 members on the point, and it looks like they're about to capture it. But it is being contested. Nope, they're able to take it over. And at 99%, Vivis Adventure have to get on there and contest it. Otherwise, it is going to be over, and they have 2 people down already.
Yeah, it's bad for Vivis.
It is.
The people that died on that initial strike from Singularity, they've already come back right now. For Vivis Adventure, they're just getting broken down. But luckily enough, they did have that Primal Rage, so they're going to be able to survive a long time. FCZ also, with Transcendence, speeds himself up and flies towards that point as quickly as possible. But the self-destruct's going to be able to clean out the point for long enough for the overtime to just run out. And I have to give the credit over to Calyx. A great Lucio performance. He knocked the guy out above the wall from the point so that they could capture the point, because that was the most important thing. The percentage wouldn't have even counted on their side if not that single play. And then not to even mention the overtime that they had to struggle quite a little bit with. Now we're going over to Village, and just as I said, Sanctum is just such a completely different point compared to Village and Shrine, so it might from now on be a little bit easier for Singularity to actually take these.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see what ends up happening, but that was a good little comeback there, so now it's tied at 1-1. Again, both teams kind of sitting more... Henzu, no, it looks like going for that Doomfist, so that'll be exciting to see what he's able to do with that champion right now on this point. So I'm excited to follow him if possible. Mandate, though, positioning himself up, and this was how Singularity was able to kind of defeat Mixie Mix, was by really good positioning coming out of Mandate, who was playing Soldier 76 at the time, putting himself out of reach of the Doomfist, so he was never able to get engaged on, but able to dish out that long-range damage and preventing Leaf from taking over the map like he had against other teams. So Singularity definitely know how to play against the Doomfist.
Mbati once again opening up the fight, and I just love it. Every single time Vivis Adventure kick off with Mbati's Tracer, just looks so well for them. But this time, it is actually a Winston going down, yet they're not really able to get any visible advantage right after. And Mbati flies right into the face of 5 people. That was crazy. That was suicide, and he's killed off so quickly. And also, a tactical visor during the first team fight before the point's even taken. I'm scared. It's also the sound barrier charged up right there on Calyx. What the hell happened here?
Yeah, no, that was insane really, but Team Singularity definitely laying down the law and taking over. We can see though that Vivis Adventure, they're not scared of anyone, so they're going to be pushing in as hard and as fast as they can to try and take over the point again and not give too much of an advantage. And as we can see, they've already nearly captured the point. It's currently being contested, but it's very nearly captured, and they're doing a nice push, and Henson doing a lot of damage, as well as Oliver. So it's having a big kind of fight over here.
But the Transcendence right in the middle of it is going to make it so much tougher. But the point gets taken over with the Soul self-destruct really. Henzu also cutting through. Lynn's out there, and there is no support available for the other side. Z-Core taken down by Craigie, but Craigie is just wrapping around the point really. He's not able to stay inside, but with a good ultimate from Danny, and it's all about that self-destruct really. Self-destruct from the blue side, they take over the point, but only for 13% until the self-destruct gets tossed out by the red team, so that Singularity take it back. And Vivis Adventure, they will be struggling right now. They do have a Transcendence, but they will have to charge up the Dragon Blade, really, to build up a team fight for themselves. Or hit a very crucial pulse bomb from Lombardi, which I am fully aware that it's possible to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll have to see what they can do. I mean, if there is a team that can just force their way in and through sheer killing power take over a point, it's Vivis Adventure. But Team Singularity is, as I said, you know, just so clean with their gameplay and the way they maintain control over the map and force the other team to play their game, that, look at that, 5 down and only losing one person, which is Zekor. Huge push, great play by Vivis Adventure, and that was exactly what we were talking about. You know, they didn't have very many ultimates, and you wouldn't have expected. A lot of other teams would have sat back maybe a little bit more, trying to just build it up, but Vivis Adventure just push in, nearly team-wipe the other team and just take over the point.
Yeah, they also saved up the pulse bomb route there, so maybe they will be used right now to take off the enemy tank. But even with the use of pulse bomb, no kills are coming through. For now, FCC is getting rid of Nerf, and he's taking out Danny Dempsey. He's going wild on that Zenyatta of his, and he's still tossing out these little balls, or rather nuts, that he's got out there. And that's going to be a good take of the team fights. It's going to be at least 65% before another fight happens.
Balls or nuts are definitely deadly when you take them to the face. So Team Singularity are trying to regroup at the moment to push in, because Vivis Adventure are successfully holding that point at 64%, and Singularity is only sitting on 80% at the moment, which, you know, isn't so close. So it does give Vivis Adventure an opportunity to get back at the moment. A couple of kills. Mande is eliminated. Nerf takes out Zekor. Crucially, Craigie is able to catch Henzu out of position and kill him there. Lolsish is trying to battle over the point and force the other teams off.
Yeah, there is a Transcendence from one side and then right from the other. Elevote is not going to be able to survive Danny a little bit too long out there, and this is a team wipe right now pretty much. Only Henzu alive, though he's got the Dragon Blade, so he might be trying to figure something out there, and it will go down to pretty much 99 to 93%, really, I think. Or Vivis Adventure will storm through the team fight and close it out before the enemy team gets 99. Who knows? Let's find out. For now, they're kicking off. Henzu taking out Craig even before he draws the Dragon Blade. Zekor with a kill on Lind. Then they know that the main tank of the enemy team is way above them out there. And Mande's going to be ganged by the Winston, but a little bit too late. Losses was already low on health, and he received no healing. Danny, though, now he's the one without the mecha. Now Elevote's going to be the one to take him down. Although he survives a little bit too long for my liking out there. 3 people hitting one little small diva, and they're not really able to take her down. Now Calyx hopping around the point just to hold on to the OT as long as possible so that the enemies don't take over the point. But Elevote gets the mecha again. It's going to be so tough to take him down. Mande goes down to the pulse bomb. But once again, Elevote out of the mecha. This time, will be able to survive or not. Calyx running away. So Craigie's got a little bit of a tough situation on his hands. But he's able to take down that diva. Now only Winston. And with him gone, this is 2-1 in favor of Singularity. So indeed, it's just a Sanctum taken by Vivis Adventure. But it was a huge struggle in here on Village. And it can just as well be the 3-2 in favor of Vivis, exactly like it was in Lijiang Tower for KGSZL.
Yeah, very exciting to see that type of gameplay. It was very close. Singularity, crucially, Mande has some great positioning on the side there, and Vivis weren't focusing on him at all, and him and Craigie were just able to eliminate everyone who was contesting the point without them really suffering any damage until, I think it was, Mubati did manage to pulse bomb Mande, but by that point it was a little bit too late. So they need to focus maybe on those heroes, because they are doing a lot of damage and having some great performances. But Singularity won the previous map, like this map actually, quite decisively, so it will be interesting to see what Vivis is able to do.
Now, right now, it's also a little bit unlucky, I would say, for Vivis, maybe, because we're kicking off on Shrine, and it's not the Sanctum again. Well, the randomization might really not help you sometimes, but then if they are able to secure the Shrine, there's a big chance they will get the Sanctum too, so maybe they'll fuel their comeback even more. and they'll get even more strength and Sanctum to maybe crush them 100-0, thus getting themselves the advantage on the next map. I don't know, but for now the team fight's kicked off, and it's once again working in favor of Singularity. They get rid of most of the enemy team, leaving only 2 people standing. They cap the point. They are looking for some good position still, and just take a look at Mande.
Yeah, look at him showing off, just making sure that everyone knows who's boss. As they say, you know, Alexander the Great rode into battle on the back of an elephant, and it looks like Mande has the same idea positioning up there, and no one is doing any damage to him, but he's definitely waking up and playing like we saw him in the group stages as a huge force on the side of Team Singularity, and kind of single-handedly taking over the map and making sure that the other team isn't able to gain any momentum. There he pops a tactical visor, trying to get in the back to take out the more weaker members, but Henzu follows him and hunts him down.
Nerf nearly dead. Danny pretty close to losing the Mecha. Calyx though healing up. He's just doing so much, but Lin is extending it with the Transcendence. Soon maybe Mande will be joining the fight again. Due to him sitting on Soldier, he'll be able to deliver the damage already from long range. He's got the Helix rockets ready out there, and he gets rid of Mombati as he enters the point, really. Now the self-destruct is going to help out. Lord Danny getting the kill on Lalsis. That's going to be clutch, and that's going to leave them alive in here. Even though the fight started so well for Vivis Adventure with a double kill, making it a 6-on-4, they're not able to take the point with that 6-on-4 going.
Look at Mande pushing forward, refusing to allow the other team's heroes to actually survive on low health. He's hunting them down, but Singularity's after a decisive kind of final map here, and they definitely are not giving Vivis Adventure any opportunity to make a comeback like KGSCL, but Vivis do have a couple of ultimates up and ready, so it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing.
Right, here we go. Elevode and Henzu once again looking to rack up some kills, but just as last time, it might not be enough. Danny loses the Mecha, but he's still alive as that small diva, but not for too long. Not as long as in Village, and that's helped out a lot for his scene. 99% though, this is tough. Even though they capture the point right now, it's going to be a hard way to get that 100% to 99.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's the thing about Vivis Adventure. You can never really count them out. So here we go. They are able to capture the point, and Singularity are definitely pushing back in. And it'll be interesting to see if we're going to see a 99% reversal with them able to win straight away. But let's see what they can do. It looks like they're just going to build up their ultimates a bit and wait for the perfect opportunity. At the end of the day, they do have 99%, and Vivis Adventure is only on 27%, so they have a bit of room to breathe. But as we can see, Hens is popping the ultimate and going for those damage dealers, trying to push them out of the point. He's hunting down Zenyatta and now coming up behind on a couple of heroes, but nothing major comes out there from Vivis Adventure. And on the other side, Team Singularity is able to do a team wipe.
Yep, and that's going to be it. That's going to close out Nepal 3-1 in favor of Singularity. So they open up the series with a map victory for themselves. And what was still left out there, Dorado and Watchpoint Gibraltar. So I really don't know where to put both of these teams. Definitely on Watchpoint Gibraltar, a lot of long range is going to matter. And Mande's been doing so well last time on the Gibraltar. Henzu, though, on the other side might also be a very good asset to have on this map too.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's very interesting and like very dominant performance coming out. Well, not dominant, but I think again, like, you know, Team Singularity are just showing why they were so good in their group stages, and I fully expect them actually to reach the finals with Vivis. So maybe we're getting an indication, or maybe a little preview. But really good performance coming out there, so I'm impressed. No one in particular. I think Mande was the one who stood out the most for me. Calyx, as you said at one point, had some really good games. But on the other side, Vivis Adventure also really impressed me, and I guess that's why these teams are ranked 6th and 7th in Europe.
Yep. And Vivis actually are going to go for Gibraltar and Singularity. No, it was actually Vivis Adventure, right? So let me quickly take a look at Group B. Yes, Vivis Adventure faced off against Who Are They on Gibraltar last time. And it was actually Gibraltar where Who Are They were able to do something, really.
Yeah. I think that was the only map that they were really able to put up much of a point, and it was quite an unusual pick, which worked in their advantage. A lot of people weren't really prepared, so just have to wait and see what ends up happening. But here we go. I wonder if this is going to force some unusual team comps that we haven't seen on the other maps.
I don't think so. Nothing really especially weird right here. Maybe possibly just some more long range. But because of all the teams not being so fond of the Hanzo or Widowmaker, I think it's going to be much rather something along the lines of an Ana maybe being swapped in, but most importantly Soldier. And also you have to keep in mind that we had some teams that played that McCree every now and then in the group stages, and I think it was Singularity and KGSEL a little bit maybe.
Yeah, definitely have to wait and see what ends up happening there, so I kind of missed that a bit, but I wonder if Hanzo will be brought out. Be fun to watch, but no, Kellex actually, no, definitely not.
No, that's, or maybe... No,
they're not going to give up their healer. Well, I really doubt, if anyone, they're not going to drop the Lucio.
Yeah, that's the thing. Unluckily, but I was thinking that maybe just to go for the scouting arrow right there, really, with Hanzo, so he's going to stick with it until the very last second, maybe.
Maybe. We'll have to.
But it's not going to be used for sure. It's not going to be fighting out there for too long.
But MountainDew on the Widowmaker could definitely be exciting to see his gameplay. You know, his shots are definitely on point, and we can see Henzu already rocking the new skin for Soldier 76.
It looks quite nice, and also Henzu was the man that dominated Who Are They actually here on Gibraltar. He was sitting on top of that plane and shooting everybody down. So once again, maybe the aircraft's going to be his spot. But first of all, we've got the first point in there. Will they actually just give it up so easily? Because just look at their positioning. They're not approaching it. They're not even scouting or poking around. They're just sitting at the gate and trying to fight it for the right at the ending. And Mande, he's going to be playing the Widowmaker for at least a little bit, since he's already out there in the field.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they weren't challenging them at that initial spawn area, but it looks like they just want to contest around the actual checkpoint itself. Mande's no pressure on him at all, so he's just charging his shots up and taking pot shots at the other champions, doing quite a lot of damage. As we can see, enabling Craigie to get one kill, with Mande getting another, but still no one putting any pressure, it looks like, on Mande or Craigie.
Yeah, they're not fighting for the first point at all, and everybody's going to be falling apart simply. Danny, even though he lost the mecha, that was the first casualty really. It was the mecha of Danny's, but he was able to survive long enough for his teammates to take down 2 other people, and then he finally died, but he was actually the only man that died this entire fight for his team. It is a whitewash in the favor of Singularity, and no fight for the first point. That's worrisome. That's a lot of the time bank just given up over to the enemy team, but this is where the choke point starts really. But I would say that if the defenders were taking care of the aircraft, but it's actually the attacking team dominating it. Just take a look at the back of this fight. Soldier is just getting dominated by 2 people who are just cutting off the respawn of Vivis Adventure. Vivis Adventure are closed off on their respawn actually here.
Yeah, that's I don't understand what's going on at all, because Singularity were basically gifted the first point, and then Vivis Adventure didn't set up on the aircraft at all. Basically got team wiped there, and allowing Singularity to capture the second point. And I actually needed to, I quickly checked the score, because I thought, oh, okay, you know, Singularity must have picked watch point Gibraltar because they're comfortable on it, but no, it was Vivis Adventure's choice. But they're playing terribly. I'm not really sure
now, but it's starting to go down as they have the primal rages, they have the self-destructors, they're able to get some kills, and finally Winston's able to catch up with the Widowmaker, and that makes Mande instantly switch over to Soldier, as he already used up the ultimate out there, and so had nothing to really lose. But once again, the Winston's hopping in and pretty much Once again, Vivis Adventure are being closed off a little bit on the respawn, but Nerf manages to jump away as the Primal Rage is running out. He doesn't want to just suicide stupidly, but they're real close to getting this second point nearly for free, actually, and Lulsush is not going to be able to survive for too long in here. Attacked by 5 people. They take the second point, and FCZ jumps down, desperately trying to contest it again, but he's late, so another big mistake noticed out there on the side, and luckily enough, Elevote's able to.
So 5 minutes for Singularity to capture the third checkpoint, which is huge. They have all the time in the world to really take their time, push forwards, and get every point individually. Craigy's been very dominant, but this is really odd. I expected much more of a fight coming out of Vivis, especially considering that they picked this map. So really odd choice, and I'm a little bit baffled, to be honest, but Mandate's just coming up huge. Henzu looking to create some chaos in the background, but I don't really see him doing too much, to be quite honest. And yep, he's just chasing people around, but unfortunately he hasn't even managed to get a kill. And is he finally going to take out Mandate right there? So maybe this is going to be the start of Vivi's kind of comeback, and they're not going to allow Singularity to get the third checkpoint, but it's definitely going to be tough for them.
Oh man, yeah it is, but still, it's the third point, you have to keep that in mind. Some ultis are dragged up out there. Mumbati though wastes the pulse bomb without really taking anybody down, though a lot of damage was delivered. Nerfed. He doesn't even get affected by the sound barrier. That's a little bit unlucky for him, but has the Primal Rage, and this is going to save him. Craigy! What a pulse bomb on 3 people. And just after I mentioned that Mumbati completely missed his own, just look at the comparison. A quadruple kill by the Tracer compared to nothing at all. Vivis Adventure are going down with a pretty big thunder.
Yeah, Lulsush just dived in there. He was up on the top there trying to kind of wait for the Transcendence to end, but then jumped in before it was ending to, I guess, contest the payload, but just ended up dying and let them push all the way to this point. So now the Vivis Adventure is scrambling, but Mande has the high ground. Finally he's pushed off there, but he's still able to put out so much damage. Like I said, I'm a bit baffled, and there we go, 3-0 for Team Singularity. They still have 2 minutes and 46 seconds on the clock. Just a dominant kind of match from them. And I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen, because this is, Vivi's Adventure. They've really got to come up huge now.
I'm pretty much lost right now, and as some people actually pointed out in chat, potato level gameplay from Vivi's Adventure. I wouldn't make it so drastic, but it surely doesn't look overwhelming as for a team that's been dominating the European scene for quite a bit of time now on online tournaments. This is definitely not that lineup.
Yeah,
I know, maybe they're a little bit asleep or something, but as you said, also, it is them who picked this map themselves. And you cannot beat a 3 minutes time bank on a Watchpoint Gibraltar. I just don't see that happening. So what are they going to try to figure out to still stay alive in this matchup? Or are they just willing to go down to the losers brackets? I don't think that it will matter so much to them, because they're still the favorites to beat down both NSA and KGSEL. Although KGSEL are a little bit of a kryptonite to these better teams, better ranked teams, I should say. So this is dangerous, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, but no team wants to go down into the losers bracket, so it's very odd gameplay coming out of Vivi's Adventure just now. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I was quite excited. It looked like Manda was going to change hero, but he just goes back to the Soldier 76, which I don't blame him for at all, because he's been performing so well on it. Craigy was coming up huge on that Tracer, so we'll just have to see what happens. But Lind is bringing out the Ana, so that'll be interesting. But let's see what Vivi's Adventure is able to do, and they're bringing out the Hanzo. But he seems, nope, he jumps back in, shoots out 2 arrows, jumps back in, and swaps over to Diva. So nothing too exciting. Man in really good positioning, and we can see that Singularity are not comfortable gifting the first checkpoint to Vivi's Adventure like Vivi's did to Singularity. So already they're trying to fight them before the bridge at the moment, and it seems to be fairly successful with a couple of kills on either side. Elivo gets taken out, So that's 3 down on the side of Vivis Adventure, and already Singularity are coming out strong and preventing Vivis from even getting close to the first checkpoint.
Just I don't know, just compare this, and they weren't even defending the first point at all. They give it a completely here, as you say, just not allowing the enemies to really put their hands on that payload at all. Mombardi's going to be trying to chase down Calyx and manages to do that before he picks up the health pack, and this is pretty unlucky by Calyx because he was wall riding actually. Had he just been casually walking towards that health pack, he would have gotten it. But he jumped over the health pack. Just imagine how unlucky you have to be.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. But I guess now, let's focus maybe a bit on what Vivis Adventure need to get back into the game. As we said in their group stages, they were an extremely aggressive team. We saw that in the first match against Singularity. So they have the skill and are definitely able to challenge Team Singularity. But they need to play their gameplay. And their style of play, which is very in the face of the other team. They can't let the other team get the tempo and momentum which is currently happening. So I think that's the key thing. But when Mande and Craigie are just coming up so huge, I think it's going to be incredibly hard for them to do so.
Hanzu's going to get taken down up there. Yeah, Mande, as you mentioned, with the tactical visor out there. There aren't even many targets for him, but he's just still making sure that the enemies aren't going to get much done. Elevote right here on 35% of the mecha. It's real quick to charge it up, but he's also really low on HP out there. And yeah, I feel like suiciding would have been just a good idea by him. And he's not even allowed to do that because Craigie kills him from behind. This is just merciless from the defending team now. And Singularity are not leaving any good word to say about.
No, but this is kind of this is what we saw really out of Singularity in the group stage. They were very, very calm, very collected, and their gameplay was extremely clean and didn't give the other team many opportunities to really get away with the match or come back. And we're seeing it here. So what they just played really well on the attacking phase, and they're playing extremely well on the defense phase, and not allowing making the mistakes that give the other team the opportunity to turn things around. But Vivis Adventure are doing their very best. They're starting to get a couple of kills, so it looks like they're building up their ultimates. Hopefully they'll be able to take some fights. And Mumbati is definitely a person to kind of watch, but it's not looking great, and they only have about 40 seconds left on the clock, so we'll have to wait and see what happens.
But Mumbati is actually one of the furthest to get on their team towards that ultimate. And as we mentioned, on the attack, on the defense, excuse me, they failed a lot of times with that pulse bomb. So I'm not really expecting much from him. But Elevote finally has that self-destruct, finally has the mecha for once, really. And he's not being bullied by Craigie from the other side. So let's see, Mante sending out the Helix Rockets and getting away. So this is actually a 6v5 team fight in favor of the blue team. Vivis Adventure, this is their chance. Will they use it? That's the question. The Transcendence from the other side, Lint, is not going to be getting a lot of healing, and he gets taken out by Mumbati himself. The one that you mentioned, the self-destruct, isn't doing much, but it is getting the enemy zoned away, and this is what matters a lot right now. Craigie trying to finally look for some targets for himself. Manzang done, even with the self-destruct, gets a kill. That's something that doesn't happen so often, but that's because they cannot leave the payload simply. The OT is already ticking down. It's so quick to go out, but once again, Winston joins in the fray, but it's for the last time. Lotish, soon as he goes down, it's all going to be gone, and GG's already typed into the chat by Vivis Adventure. They're fully aware that it's gone, and that's 2-0 in favor of Singularity. I did not think that it would be such a one-sided match, but hey, I won my bet.
Yeah, no, you did, definitely did. I did, but like we both said, I expected much more from Vivis Adventure. In the first game, they managed to give us a much closer fight, and things could have turned around. But Singularity just stepped it up to another level, particularly Craigie. Calyx at the end there had some really good ultimates. And as we can see, this is the play of the aim with Craigie with an amazing stick. Gets that triple kill.
Ouch.
Look at that. Incredible. Dives straight back in to take out Mumbati, making sure that we are very clear on who the best tracer of this tournament is.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it. And these guys are so eager to just get the spots on the LAN players for themselves. And already we're going to distribute a little bit of that prize money because it's 200 euros for the 4th place and 300 for the 3rd. But all that matters is definitely who gets to the grand finals. And pretty much Vivis Adventure putting themselves on the losers brackets with a very underwhelming Watchpoint Gibraltar performance. I'm wondering if it's going to stay that way, because maybe some of the teams are going to now try to go for Watchpoint Gibraltar against Vivis. Maybe it's going to be easier that way to beat them down. Maybe there's even a possibility to knock out Vivis. I'm definitely looking at UKGSCL right now.
Well, I mean, they need to get against KGSCL to be able to get knocked out. And with Ensei's performance against KGSCL and just what we saw from Vivis in the second game, I'm actually quite worried about Vivis, because I could see Ensei beating them. Yeah, I just expected a lot more from them. And it's a bit disappointing that nothing has come. You know, we haven't gotten too much, but we're going to be taking a 5-minute break, and then when we're back, we'll see Ensei against Vivis Adventure.